My name is Michael Goldberg. Let's talk about how you prepare for your interview. Hey, LinkedIn Live Nation, this is Michael Goldberg coming to you live from Brookhaven Country Club in good old Dallas, Texas. Let's hear it. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, hope you're doing groovy today. It's Thursday. It's time for the Job Seeker Hotline Show. So my guest today is All-Star Sorcerer, founder, creator of Greatness, and he has brought Batman to life better than Val Kilmer, Michael Keaton.
You started with a really low bar there. That was like, you went like...
Well, founder and CEO of Better Job Fit. She is one of my amazing coaches. Wait, where are you? Why am I double... What?
Thank you for bringing your own verve and spunk to this show.
Hey there, we're taking a brisk weekend walk with Michael Goldberg, LinkedIn content creator herself. Miss Judy Fox, welcome to the show.
Woo!
Hey everyone, this is Michael Goldberg with tip number 4 of 10 tips in 10 days. I have got a great guest on today. Whatever. Well, of course, now I'm the big picture and that moved. Hey, everybody! You know, it's funny to watch the that when I'm in studio and we're doing this, and then I see that opening, and it still makes me laugh, right? Because I like how my video editor put that together. Kind of showed me as being kind of goofy but fun and having a good time. And so, how's everybody doing? This is Michael Goldberg. Welcome to the LinkedIn Live Lunch Hour. Let us know where you're viewing from. Of course, do hit that share button. Let people know we're live. I've got a great guest on today. Author, podcaster, all-around good guy. And guess what? He just published a book. He just got his book out. I want to welcome to the show author and cool dude, Andy Storch from Orlando, Florida. Welcome, sir.
Michael, thank you so much for having me on. I love that intro and just seeing all the cool stuff you've been doing, all the shows you've been on and you've been creating and guests you've been bringing on. And I'm honored to be the next and join the lunch hour here, join you on this show. And yes, I just published my first book yesterday. It's called Own Your Career, Own Your Life. It is available on Amazon now. It's my first book, and I am so excited about it. And I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk to you.
Well, I'm honored to, because I know when we first talked, we were like, yeah, let's do it the week you publish and or go live with the book. So I'm super excited. Own your career, own your life, and that's what we're going to be talking about today with Andy. Again, let us know where you're watching from. Be sure to hit the comments and the shares and all that fun stuff. And then if you have questions, just be sure to type that up in the chat, and we'll go from there. So, Andy, why don't you just first off, before we kind of dive into the questions, just give us just a quick elevator ride up about your experience and how you got where you are here today.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Michael. So, I have spent about the last 9 years or so in corporate consulting, mostly on the training and development side. So while you've been helping so many great organizations with recruiting and talent acquisition, I've been more focused on training and development. A lot of strategy alignment, business acumen, leadership development work, and running lots of workshops. I have a couple podcasts. One of them is called the Talent Development Hot Seat. And the other one is the Own Your Career, Own Your Life podcast, matching the book. And I've done all this work in talent development. I've run a lot of training workshops for companies in different industries all over the world. And something I noticed throughout that time is that, first of all, I've learned a lot from a lot of great people, and especially from very successful executives. But I've also noticed a lot of corporate professionals tend to be kind of drifting through their careers. They're operating in reaction mode, kind of waiting for someone, their boss or someone else, to tell them what to do or bring an opportunity their way. Or maybe they're unhappy and they don't know what to do about it. They get frustrated and they end up leaving their companies without really exploring what opportunities there might be there for them. And I saw a real opportunity to take everything that I have done and learned throughout my life, especially the last few years, and put together a book with a ton of practical advice on how to really take ownership of your career, take ownership of your life, and really achieve your goals. And so I put all of that into this book. It just came out yesterday, like we said, November 16th. It's available on Amazon. And I'm really excited. I've been hearing a lot of positive feedback. And I'm really excited about the opportunity to help a lot of people with this book.
Yeah, and you were nice enough before the interview to allow me to do some research to actually read the online version, and I loved it. What I loved about it was that it's good, practical common sense. Right? There's a lot of people out there that they think they know what they're doing, whether it's in business or they're an entrepreneur or they're a job seeker. Right? And they're trying to figure out which way they go. And I liked the exercises that you had people do. So it wasn't just a book of reading. You were actually providing advice and then saying, okay, now it's your turn. Right? Very similar to what I do when I'm coaching my career, my job seeking clients, career coaching clients, whatever. So I just thought it was well written. It's a very easy read. It's a very quick read. And it's good to have those reminders on the, after you've read the book. But I did a lot of, I guess, online tagging. If I had the, when I get a copy of the book,
Yep.
what I'll do is tab everything, right? So I can certainly go to it. But you did a great job, and it's a great book. And I strongly recommend that if you're interested, Own Your Career, Own Your Life, on sale now on Amazon. Is that right?
It's on Amazon. You can get the Kindle or the paperback version. And I appreciate what you said. I put a lot of effort into making sure this is not just a book that you just read and check the box and I'm going to go read on to the next one. This is a book that is all about taking action. So if you're going to get it, make sure you have a journal handy or a highlighter. I have questions in every chapter, some prompts to get you thinking about all the things that you can and should be doing to take more ownership of your career and your life. A lot of practical advice. And then I'm also really big on habits to drive success. So when you set a goal, getting specific on the goals you want to establish or you want to achieve, and then establishing the right habits to help you achieve those goals. And so in almost every chapter, I have a habit section with the old habits you might want to get rid of and the new habits you want to establish. And so this book is all about forming the right habits to help you achieve your goals and really live your best life and have a fulfilling career. And to that end, I've created a companion journal as well to go along with it. It's not quite available yet. It's coming out soon. But any journal will do to make sure you write down your answers or you write in your book and highlight like you suggested, Michael, because I want people to really, this book will only be worth it for me and you if you actually take action on some of the stuff in there. And I hope people will.
Correct. Well, I know people will. And so one of the first quotes that kind of struck me from your book was, and if I may quote you here, I have personally changed my vision and goals many times. I love that end quote. So how has that evolved over the years for you?
Yeah, and I appreciate you mentioning that. I put that in there because I think people get stuck on a goal or a vision they have for themselves, and then they feel like they have to stick with it even if things changed. And I'm very big on constantly checking in with your values, your purpose, what's important to you, and making those adjustments if you need to. A lot of times people end up setting goals or striving after things just because they see their friends or someone else doing it, or their parents tell them that's what they should be doing. And this book is about doing the self-reflection to get a better feeling for where you want to go with your career and your life, and then taking action in that direction. And so early in my career, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I've always been very ambitious. So I just really wanted to be a CEO of a company one day, right? I wanted to move up the ranks. And actually very early in my career, I wanted to be a successful entrepreneur. I wanted to work in and run a small business. And I got involved in multiple startups. None of them worked out. Some I started, some I worked for others. They were all kind of failures, if you will. And so then I got into the corporate world, and my goal was to move up. And that didn't really work out. I struggled because I ended up in jobs that were not a good fit for me. They weren't a match for my strengths or what I was good at. And I had to move from one job to the next and then go back to school and get an education, a further education. I got an MBA. which helped me in my career and got me into corporate consulting, where I learned a ton and just had a great time building my career and my strengths and my experiences there. But I still continue to pivot. I wanted to move up and again ran into challenges because, and I talk about this in the book, I ran into a major roadblock because one of the requirements was to be a great project manager and be very detail oriented. And I am not those things. I'm not detail oriented. I'm not a good project manager. You wouldn't want to hire me for that. But I was excelling at facilitation, at sales, at relationship building. And so I ended up shifting my career toward doing more of those things. And then when I got really into personal development and started doing a lot more self-discovery, I realized that what I really wanted to do was run my own business. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be in control. I'm a bit of a rebel. I don't really like working for others. And that's not for everybody, but that's what it was for me. And so I started looking for that opportunity. And I kind of had to give up the goal or the dream of being a CEO of a company one day or being a vice president or, a powerful executive and chase the dream of running my own business. And then as I continue to develop more, I started to think about what's truly important to me. And is it having the power and money that potentially come from a really big, successful business that you run? Or is it making sure that I get to spend time with my family all the time? And I have a wife and 2 kids. And so I realized that's the most important thing to me. And I want to be able to travel and have fun and enjoy my life. And so I shift again. And it's not that you can't have all these things, but often there are trade-offs with everything we do. And I talk about this in the book. I want people to figure out what's important to you. What are your values? What is your purpose? And then what are the trade-offs? Because there are often trade-offs involved in going after one thing, and then you won't be able to spend time on the other. So if family is really important, you might not be able to work enough hours to be CEO one day. I don't know. It depends on the situation. But for me, that's what I decided, that I wanted to grow my own business and brand, but I also wasn't going to sacrifice time with my family. So I make sure that we have dinner together every night. We spend time and have fun on the weekends, and I get to build the business and the brand I want. And, it may not be a huge thing one day, but I am enjoying the process. And I now have a strong vision where I want to go with all of it. And I also know that I'm 40 years old and there's still plenty of time to pivot and change. 5 years from now, something else might come along that maybe want to do something different. And that's okay. You don't have to feel guilty about decisions in the past, because everything we've done in the past, mistakes and successes, are all part of the journey that got us to where we are right now. And where we are right now is perfect to set us up to go where we need or we want to go.
Absolutely. I love that. Hey, Derek, on the comments, there's some comments I kind of want to throw up there, especially from Mary Ellen. I can't wait to read this book. Mary Ellen just started her own business and she has no idea what's involved. And connect with us, Mary Ellen. We can.
Yeah, you and I have done that. There's a lot. I think one of the biggest mistakes, by the way, people make is that, well, I'm good at this one thing or passionate about this one thing, so I'm going to start a business around that, right? Whether it's recruiting or training or anything else. And then they forget that when you start a business, you're not just doing that thing. You are now in sales. You got to manage the books and everything else that comes along with that. So it's really important to think all that through. How are you going to go out and get customers and clients? What do you want your business to be like? What goals do you have? How does it line up with your values and purpose and everything that we're talking about? So whether it's a career or a business, it's important to do all those things. And my book is called Own Your Career. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, everything is in there to help you run a successful business. Well, not everything, but to go out and build your business and your brand, networking, building brand, all that stuff. It's in there too. You
could substitute the word career in there for so many different words, right?
And what is a career anyway, right? I mean, if you run your own business, you still have a career, right? It's basically
you're making your own career,
right?
And also, so the one above it, Derek Shagranda, yeah, there you go. So Shagranda, I always wanted to go in business of my own. Tell us why you haven't yet, Shagranda. What's stopping you from doing that, right? And so, the first thing you need to do is you really need to have that vision. You got to paint that vision for yourself, according to the book, according to Own Your Career, Own Your Life.
Yeah.
By our guest, Andy Storch. You like that? Promo there?
I read that book too.
Yeah, I've heard of that guy. It starts with, one of the things that you definitely come out and say is, it really starts with values, right? why I know why it's important, but
Yeah.
tell others why having values are super important.
Well, values help you make decisions at the end of the day. The easiest way to explain it is that values help you make decisions. So if you haven't done this ever before, I highly recommend you go out and do a values exercise where you look at a bunch of values and you figure out what are most important to you. And it's a real challenge. So go Google. I don't have one specifically I recommend, but if you go Google it, I know there's a bunch out there you can do probably for free. And typically they give you a list of about 50 or 100 terms of potential values, and you circle what's most important to you. And then you have to narrow it down to the top 5. And you have to remember while you're doing that, it's not that all of these things are not important. They are, but it's about prioritizing what is the most important thing. So if I say, money or success or recognition is really important, but also love and family and things like that, what's more important to me? And then when you know what's most important to you, that helps drive your decisions. So again, like I was talking about, you want to be CEO one day, but you also want to have dinner with your family every night. And again, there are some great situations where you can achieve both of those things. But I've found on average, during my work in the corporate world, that a lot of CEOs and executives tend to be working long hours, 60 to 80 hours a week. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it can cause a lot of trade-offs. So think about your values. Another great example is when you get to the end of a workday and you want to go to the gym to work out to be healthy, but your friend calls you and says, hey, we're getting together for happy hour. Which do you choose? That comes down to your values. Is your top value health? Is your top value socializing? Again, there's nothing wrong with either one. That's your personal choice. And having those values can help you decide where you want to go with your career as well. What is important to you? The line of work that you're in. Is it HR? Is it marketing? Is it finance? Do you want to be a successful, quote, successful executive? Do you want to be a manager? Do you want to be a director or VP? Do you just want to enjoy your career and be home for dinner with your family every night? Do you want to make a bigger impact? Do you want to be part of some type of social purpose? That's all up to you. It's very personal. Knowing those values and connecting them to your purpose, which I know you were going to ask about as well, Michael, which is basically your why. Why do you go to work? Why do you show up? That helps drive you, and it helps drive you towards that vision. And going back to what you said about the vision, I want to address that too. Even if you're not totally clear, I think it's great and a good idea to have a vision, an idea of where you want to go to in your career. That could be, I want to be VP of finance one day. It could be, I want to change careers and get into HR because I like working with people. It could be that I want to quit the corporate world and start my own business one day. If you have that vision, that's kind of the North Star, the thing that guides you as you start to set your goals and make a plan. And as I said earlier, it can and will change, and that's okay. But if you don't have a vision, then when opportunities come up, like a promotion opportunity or a recruiter calls you, or you lose your job and you need to figure something else out. If you don't have that vision, then you don't really know where to go. It's really hard to make those decisions. So having the vision for where you want to go, being clear on your values and priorities makes it a lot easier to make those decisions when they come up. And then you can head in a certain direction with a lot more confidence.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that is a part of my career coaching, and I think we talked about this, I was recently certified in UMAP. And the UMAP is really looking at the whole person. It's looking at their top 5 strengths. But, what Kristen Sherry says is look at your values, look at your skills. And so my top values are all about outward facing, taking care of others. And I think that's, well, I know it's not, I know that that's what drives me to show up every day is helping companies with their recruiting, becoming better or establishing recruiting functions, or when I'm talking to different candidates of different positions that I'm working across the U.S., right? But if those values and those skills aren't identified from the get-go, it makes it really hard to kind of figure out what you want to do. And while you can have the vision, I always say, like in my coaching, the first tab is called Start With You, is, what are your top values? And a lot of people say, well, money's a value. Well, money is not actually a value at all, There's nothing. We don't. I mean, yes, we all value money, but it's not why we wake up and do business every day, right? So, in the comments below, tell us what your top 5 values are. Let us know in the comments. If you want to share one, you want to share 5, but let's get some engagement out here on this. So, thanks for addressing the values piece of it. So here's another quote from the book, and it's about connecting to purpose. And if I may put my head down and look here, it says, and I quote, "Many people hate their jobs because what they do doesn't align with the purpose or doesn't energize them. They feel stuck because they're afraid to try anything else or even have a conversation with their manager about what they enjoy and don't enjoy about the job." And when I end quote, and so what I really like about that statement is we say value's not a money, but yet we show up because it's a job, right? It's not something that you wake up and say, "This is what I want to do."
Right. Yep.
Whether you're a help desk technician, a recruiter, a CFO, a CEO.
Yep.
If you don't have that mission, purpose mentality, would you agree that it's going to be hard to succeed without that?
Oh yeah. And it's without a purpose or a why, it's harder to get through the challenging times. You need that to drive you. And I think it's, a lot of times people are working at a job, right? They don't enjoy, or there's something frustrating about it, something they don't like about it. And they're not really doing anything about it. They're not really willing to take an initiative and take a chance. It can be scary. It's not easy. But, to your point, a lot of people, and I put this in the book, if you ask a lot of people why they go to work every day, they'll say something like, well, because they pay me to, or because I have to, because I have this job and they expect me to show up every day. And I want to remind people that as long as you live in, a free capitalistic country, which is probably like 75 to 80 or more % of the world, especially here in the United States, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to show up to that job. Obviously, you need money to pay your bills and put food on the table. But you don't that's not the reason you're going there. You're going there because you accepted that job for a specific reason, right? It's something you wanted to do. You felt like it lined up, or maybe you thought it was the only thing you could do. But if you're not happy about it, why? What are you not happy about? Is it the actual job? Is it your boss? Is it the people you work with? Is it the commute? Is it the company and the culture? Try to figure out what's going on with those things that is making you causing you to feel unhappy. And are there little tweaks you could make, or do you need to do something different? And as you mentioned there, Michael, one of the biggest things people can do that they don't do, and I admit that I was very scared to do this early in my career as well, is to go have that conversation with your manager and say, hey, I'm feeling a little bit unhappy or frustrated in this part, or I'm a little unsure of where I'm going with my career. Can we sit down and talk about it? Here's some of my strengths. Here's where I'm trying to get to. Can you help me think through some of the gaps or some of the things I need to do to move up or to get this job over here, or maybe to perform better? I want to see more people initiating that conversation. And in my conversations with so many people in talent development across different companies, they're telling me that a lot of early career professionals especially are getting frustrated because they don't know where they're going with their career. They don't feel like they're getting the growth they need or they want. And their manager is not giving them that coaching and advice. And so instead of them initiating the conversation, they're looking for other jobs and they're leaving. And then the whole thing could end up repeating itself again. So connecting with your purpose, your values, figuring out what your strengths and your weaknesses are, what you're good at, what energizes you, what do you like to do, and then comparing that with, how do you feel about your job right now? What's going well? What do you maybe not like about it? And do you want to try to make some tweaks? And then initiating that conversation with your manager or someone else to start to explore options. Don't just sit there and wait for someone else to come to you or someone else to, bring you an opportunity in your career. You only get one career, and nobody cares more about your career than you do, right? You might have a nice manager who helps you out. Your mom probably loves you and cares about you, but nobody cares more about your career than you do. So you've got to take the initiative to connect with that purpose, to figure out that vision, to set the goals, make a plan, and take action to get to where you want to go. Because no one else is going to do it for you, probably.
No, and 100% agreement there. I think one thing to say, look, it's okay. The average person, at least back in my day when I was 40, they would say that the average person has about 3 careers in their lifetime. And so I started out in hospitality, and then I came over and got my, like you, decided I wanted to go in HR. Well, to get in HR, you got to have a master's. So I went and got my master's, and I went into the HR and corporate recruiting for longer than I remember. So a total of about 20 years in the corporate workspace. And then 2 years ago, decided to become my entrepreneur. And this is how I want to, this is what, unless a solid deal comes across my way, I'm very happy that I've made the jump. I wish I had done it earlier. Like, there's always that I wish, but you can't have regrets. Your path took you on a journey that you really don't know where the train's going. But I think as long as you have a plan, as long as you have you have a vision that goes along with your values, that matches things that are going to keep you interested in terms of skills, your most utilized skills and your strengths. And then you put a plan together. And I really like how you touched upon this. And I can't remember the chapter number, but it was the importance of having a plan. It's so critical. A lot of people, whether you're doing a job search or you're doing a business plan for 2021, which, by the way, I need to get done, is if you don't have a plan, it's not going to come through. You're not going to be able to get to that taking responsibility point because you have nothing to look back on. Where's the plan?
That's right. Right.
I saw somewhere today that I think it may have been Joel Lalgee that posted this. I don't know if you know Joel.
I have an interview with him in a couple hours.
There you go. He's good people.
Go follow him and check it out. 2:00 Eastern.
But his post, he did it. You have goals and then you have systems. The goals, to me, the systems are like your plans. It's how you're going to get there. Right. The goal is, I want to make 75,000 this year, or I want to lose 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Or in my case, 20.
Right.
Maybe 25, maybe 30. But I can say that. But when you use the SMART methodology like you used as your example, and I applaud you for that, because a lot of people know about the way to create goals using SMART, but they don't. Where they really get caught up is in the R and the T, right? Is it results oriented? What are the results? And then timeliness. All right, when do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Right. Because timing is all about planning. If you've got a business idea, Shagranda, then you need to be floating that around and doing some research. And I assume that Mary Ellen, that you have done your research as you have started your new business. By the way, her top 5 values is family, health, wealth, achievement, and alignment with my purpose. And I love that. So way to go, Mary Ellen. Thanks for sharing that and being active today. So having said that, we all develop goals, but the goals are too short-sighted. Do you agree or disagree? When we normally, as humans.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have dreams, I call them. You could say it's a goal, but to your point, you got to have the plan. I think I wrote in there, a goal without a plan is just a wish, right? And
it's a famous quote, isn't it not?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Mark Twain, and that might be Mark Twain.
It might have been. I can't remember who it was. I didn't make it up, but I could set a goal. I could say, I want to go hang out with Michael in person in Dallas. I'd love to get together and have a beer or a coffee and just chat more about all this, which would be great. Unless I have a plan to get there, I'm in Orlando, by the way. Unless I have a plan to get there, to either drive the probably 14 hours whatever it is, or buy a plane ticket, go to the airport and take the flight. I'm never going to get there. It's just a wish. It's not going to happen. It's the same with any vacation. And it's the same with any other goals you want to achieve in your life. So let's go to fitness. You mentioned losing 20 pounds. Now, if you want to get in better shape, a lot of people say, I'd like to get in better shape, or I want to get fit, or I want to get healthy. And there's nothing smart about that. You mentioned smart. It needs to be specific. It needs to be relative, it needs to be measurable. It needs to be actionable. It needs to be realistic or results oriented. You said it needs to be time bound. So I want to get in shape. There's no way to take action on that. How? What are you going to do? Or I want to change careers, or I want to make more money. They're just too broad, right? You got to get really specific with the goal that you set. So I want to lose 20 pounds by March 31st by doing what? And again, something that's measurable. So going to the gym 3 times a week, eating less ice cream, eating more, vegetables and fruits every single day, drinking a gallon of water every day. Whatever you want to put down, hire yourself a health and fitness or nutrition coach. Don't necessarily listen to me, even though I have been very big on health and fitness for many years. I know that you got to be really specific with what you want to do to achieve that goal. It's the same thing with going after making a career change or owning your career. You set that vision, I want to get into HR. I want to get the promotion. And then you make it really specific. I want to get promoted to director by June by doing these things. I'm going to check in with my manager. I'm going to connect with 2 new people a week. I'm going to take a certification course and I'm going to pass it by a certain date, and get really specific and, figure out a way that you're going to be able to measure your progress so that that you're making progress. You can check in with yourself and see if you're getting off course. And then the other 2 things to help you with there. Number 1 is going back to that purpose. The purpose, or your why, is the reason why you're doing it. You need to know the reason that you're setting this goal. So many people set goals just to set goals, or they set goals because they see their friends doing it. You need to have a purpose or a reason behind it. And that is what's going to drive you when things get tough. Because when you set that goal to go to the gym 3 to 4 times a week so you can get in better shape, something's going to come up, right? Your friend is going to call you and invite you to happy hour. You're going to have extra work to do. Your kids are going to be bugging you about stuff. Just last night, I got my kids from school and I wanted to go to the gym, and my daughter threw a fit about it and said she didn't want to go because I usually take them with me and put them in the kids room at the Y. And she threw a huge fit and said, I don't want to go. And I could have just given in that moment, but because I have a purpose, I want to get in better shape and stay healthy for them. I forced my children, I dragged them to the gym with me, and I went and got a workout last night. For the career change, you're going to have challenges that come up as well. And you got to be ready for those with that specific goal that you're working on, with that plan. And again, you need a plan for how am I going to achieve this? I'm going to network and talk to 3 new people a week. I'm going to take a certification course by this certain date. I'm going to post on LinkedIn twice a week for this amount of time. Have that plan in place. And then the other thing you can do to really help you with this process is get some accountability. So tell a friend, tell a colleague, tell your manager, tell them what you're doing, specifically the goal you want to achieve and when you want to achieve it by. And even better, get them to work on it with you. I think I say in the very beginning of my book that you'll be better off if you can find a friend to read this book with you and go through it step by step with you and check in with each other and say, hey, my vision is this. What do you think? My purpose is this. What do you think? Here's my goal I'm setting. Will you hold me accountable? I'm going to go on LinkedIn. I'm going to connect with at least 3 new people a week and build my network in HR or finance, whatever it is. Will you hold me accountable to that, or hire a coach or a career coach like Michael to help hold you accountable and push you in the right direction? You're going to be so much more successful. That's one of the big things that separates the people you see who achieve big goals and those who don't, is they get really specific about what they're trying to do. They make it measurable and actionable. They check in, they get accountability, and then they take action on that. Having a bias for action is just so important. And those are things that allowed me to achieve a lot of things over the last few years. No,
and that's great. That's a great example. I think, so when it comes to things like eating better or exercising, that you can control.
Yeah.
For people that want to go into business for themselves, for job seekers, I definitely would not say by January, I'm going to have a goal.
Right.
Okay. Because what a lot of people do is they go, well, this is my, when people are being laid off in March and April,
Yeah.
when COVID first came around, right? What did they do? They said, all right, I'm going to go out and I'll be able to find a new job within 4 to 5 months. COVID will be going away, maybe. Hopefully, we all thought the summer, we were listening to what health officials were telling us in the whole 9 yards. And so when people come to me and they go, hey, can you help me find a job? I'm like, no, that's not my job. You're going to find the job. I'm going to help you get there. But have you considered, because they always ask, well, how long do you think it'll take me to find a job? I go, well, I'd be a lot richer if I had the crystal ball right in front of me, because we don't know. We're in its 2.5, third wave of what is just becoming a worsening situation. And, you have to consider the external factors, the environmental factors, the job factors. Don't set, if you say that I want to find a job by January, let's say it's November, and my goal, I've been looking for 6 months, I need to find a job by January. What happens to your mind, right? In January, come January 31st and you don't have that job. What are you saying? Holy crap. Right? It's unrealistic. It becomes an unrealistic goal just by saying that. If you're an entrepreneur, I'm here to tell you, when people told me, I'm like, oh, I'm going to beat that. But COVID came, 2 years. 2 years. That's what people told me. Do this for 2 years and people will be coming to you. Well, it's a good thing I started 2 years ago and kept going through it, right? Since May of 2018. So I've been doing it almost 3 years now. And things are, believe it or not, things are starting to come to fruition because I've worked hard at it. But back then I didn't say, oh, I'm going to make 100, I'm going to make, 100K in these kind of, with these many clients. If I had done, I had a business plan for this year. That business plan was totally shot to hell. Totally shot to hell.
Mine too.
Right. So we both experienced that.
Oh yeah.
You did the smart thing. You started writing a book. I should have wrote the book, my book, which I still don't know if I'm going to ever do.
Right now.
No, thanks. I'm not ready yet. But I appreciate your suggestions. Actually, if you just give me yours, and then I'll put as told by author Michael Goldberg, as told by Andy Storch, own your career, own your life.
It's funny you mentioned that, Michael. I have a lot of creative options available. If you'd like to use this book with your clients, I can actually change the back cover and put your picture on it if you want. We can do anything.
Really?
That's the beauty of self-publishing.
I am not doing that. That's not honest. I can't do that. That's one of my values. Honesty is my top value.
Oh no, it's not dishonest. You could use it for your business.
We
digress. But I'm with you.
We digress. So here you talk about focusing on connecting with people, right? We've got 2 more questions here. Focus on connecting with people. I agree 100%. It's all about connecting. But during your research, and maybe you were, I don't know at what point you worked on this chapter, but in the people that I'm talking with, whether they're my clients or not, and they're job seekers or even, business folks that are trying to connect with others, you're not getting reciprocity from people in replies. Like when I'm doing personalized emails to people aren't responding. Any advice or any magic pills or something that gives hope to people that, hey, you can still reach out to on LinkedIn or whatever your favorite social media is. But I think that the folks have become overwhelmed. The people that are working have become very overwhelmed with, with the influx of calls or emails they're getting.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
There are some challenges, but I still think the opportunities are there. I don't think that it's any worse. I think it's in some ways easier than it was before COVID. And now you're right. Things are getting busier for a lot of people who are working. But I think the opportunities are absolutely there. So if you're looking to connect with people, potential employers, just people to get advice from and connect with, and schedule those coffee chats to just get to know them and get some mentorship, things like that. The people are out there. So number one, like you said, personalize that message that you're sending. If you can get an introduction from someone that you both know, that's even better, right? But personalize it. Find something that you might both have in common. Did you go to the same school? Are you from the same area? Have you worked in similar industries or similar types of jobs? Find some type of connection to bring up and personalize it. Number two is you got to follow up. They say the fortune is in the follow-up. I adopted a mantra from another friend of mine, patience and persistence, which is that I'm not going to seem desperate or needy, but I will follow up persistently until we book that call. And that might be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And until they either tell me yes or go away. And most of the time people say, yes, thank you for following up. They don't tell you to go away. If you're being kind, you're being pleasant, you're being nice, and you're not trying to be a jerk about it. Hey, I sent you an email. You haven't responded to me. Where are you? I mean, people are busy, right? So I just follow up, and the persistence seems to often pay off. And sometimes you don't hear from people, and that's okay. Don't get angry about it. Don't have any expectations, because you've probably been that person too, where someone was reaching out to you and you had a lot going on and you just didn't get a chance. I mean, I've got a million things going on right now with this book launch. And I have been receiving tons and tons of messages. I'm also got some health stuff I'm dealing with, and a lot of people are reaching out to me. I'm trying to respond to everything I can, but I know for sure right now there's like 40 unread text messages in my phone from people that I haven't responded to. And at this point, because they've gone so far down, I probably won't unless they follow up with me. If they follow up with me, I'll respond to them right away. And so I love it when people follow up with me. And it's always a reminder to me that I need to follow up with them. So I think a lot of times people send that one email or that one message and think, well, if they didn't respond, it's probably because they don't like me or they don't respond to me. And the real reason is that they got buried in emails that day, and now they can't see your message anymore. They probably can't even find it to respond to you. And if you just follow up, then they'll probably, in a kind, pleasant way, they might respond this time.
No doubt. No doubt. So, and now, of course, I don't know about you, but on LinkedIn, I'd say 50% of my in-mails are about starting a franchise, Bitcoin.
Oh, so much spam, right? So many people.
Yeah. And I think that's where the messages are getting lost.
Yeah.
The genuine people that are really trying to connect, or they've been spammed so much that they don't want to look at another email box that is called InMail, right?
Yeah.
So you have to come up with alternative ways to connect with people. And you know that answer. It's go get the email address and try that approach.
Sure. Yeah.
And have a catching headline. Not spammy, not salesy, but a subject line. And you can Google great subject lines to capture people's attention out there, and it'll give you all kinds of interesting tips and tricks. But try other avenues. Hey, here's an idea. This is called a telephone. You ever pick it up and call somebody?
I always forget about that part.
Yeah. Well, and I do a lot of. I mean, I even as an older guy, I'm doing a little more emails than I'm normally used to doing, like for initial reach out for candidates and stuff like that. But in the end, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call the people, because I have to have a voice-to-voice relationship or a Zoom call or a live broadcast, whatever it may be.
Oh, yeah.
So
my goal when I connect with new people on LinkedIn, by the way, sorry to interrupt you, is to get them on a video call, get them on Zoom. That's where I'm going to build personal.
Bring connections to life. Bring connections to life.
Just like you and I did.
Exactly. Right. All right. So let's talk about, the last thing I want to talk about is taking responsibility. Like I had mentioned at the outset, this is where people fall down the most.
Yep.
Right. They got everything, they got their vision, their plan, their value, blah, blah. They got it all ready to go. Right. And then you go, all right, go for it. And the look you get is sheer terror. And they're like, oh shit, I got to do this for real. I got to really now carry this out. I don't want to pay somebody to do it. And look, my head's been there. I don't know about your head, but my head's been there, right? We think that it'll all just come flowing to us because we're just the subject matter experts. It's not going to happen, people. You can sit there and wait. So how would you recommend people get over that hump to start making things happen?
Yeah. Well, number one, I mentioned earlier, nobody cares more about your career than you do. So you've got to be the one to take the initiative and take the action. Don't wait for other people to bring opportunities your way, because you might be waiting a long time and they might have other plans for you. You want to make the plans and take control of your life. Number two, you can't control everything that happens in life, but you can control what you do, where you go, how you act, and how you respond to certain situations. So I'm a big fan of taking ownership and personal responsibility for everything going on in your life. And that even means when things don't go well, even if you get laid off and it was something that wasn't your decision, or you apply for a job and you don't get it, that you take full personal responsibility and ask, what can I learn from this? What could I have done better? Why did this happen? Could I have maybe shown up for work more, or could I have shown up differently to that interview? Try not to blame anybody else, because that doesn't help anything. It makes you feel good in the moment because you're relieving yourself of the responsibility. But when you take full responsibility for everything that's going on in your life, then you are in control. You have that sense of control, which gives you a lot more sense of fulfillment and contentedness as well. And so we talked about making the vision. We talked about setting goals. We talked about making a plan and figuring out where you want to go. And then you got to take initiative. You got to take action. And I also talk in the book a lot about mindset and having a growth mindset, which means that if you try something and you fail, that's okay. It's a learning opportunity. You've got to be, a lot of people don't take the action. They don't try to go for that next thing because they're afraid of failure. But what if there was no such thing as failure? What if it was only learning and growth, which means that everything you do, even if it doesn't work out as planned, you get to learn from that opportunity. And that lesson will help you get to the next thing. And maybe you have to take action and apply for that next job or try to get that promotion so that you can get to the next thing that you don't even know about that is waiting for you right now. But first, it starts with taking action. It starts with taking ownership and taking full responsibility. So whether things work out well or they don't, you own it. You don't blame anybody else You don't blame anybody else. You don't complain about your situation, because we're all on our own journey. We all have our own situations. Everybody is unique. You're in the situation you're in, and you're in the perfect place right now to go where you want to go, to set your goals, to go out and make a plan and start taking action and go achieve those things. But it starts with full responsibility for your situation, not waiting for anybody else. It's all about you. You get to own your career. You get to own your life, and you get to define what success looks like and feels like for you.
Absolutely. So, I don't know if this is somebody said this but it's always, I think I kind of created, but I like to say you only fail if you don't try.
That's true. Right.
You
miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? And Wayne Gretzky say that or something.
Yeah, somebody said that.
Right.
So, well, yeah, I'm Wayne Gretzky.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. I heard you're very good at hockey.
Yes. Yeah, actually I was. I had to retire, right? There's one comment that kind of it was the last comment for Mary Ellen, Derek. Found that the less you write in a message, the better. I have to talk as two professionals and see how you can help each other. And social media as initial contacts better get better on the phone. That's so true. Less is more. A lot of the like for Bitcoin and all the franchisee people, I mean, they're elaborate messages that are just like just go on and on. You're just like, ugh, stop. So, well, hey. By the way, Derek, can you go back to that other tab so I can look at it again to quote the quote that you looked up? So a goal without a plan is just a wish. The person that said this is Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I am not French, but hell, shit, sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
On the screen.
So if you need to know, just say, oh, some guy named Antonio said it. And just, my friend Antonio. I don't know what year that was or when that was, but it's all right. Anyway, we've talked a lot about some good things today. But I'm telling you, the audience, get on Amazon and buy the book. Own your career. Own your life. by Mr. Andy Storch. Andy,
Yes.
what if we were to do some kind of, and this is spontaneous, so you can shoot me down.
I like spontaneous.
To like, what if we were to say, hey, love all the people that commented today, but Mary Ellen Shea I think she needs this book.
I agree.
Because she kept the conversation going. Could you two connect? Would you mind sending her an autographed copy of your book?
I wouldn't mind at all, Michael.
There you go.
Yeah,
So, I mean, if you want me to fund it, I'll be glad to pay for it.
Yeah.
But Mary Ellen Shea, you're getting a book because that's the kind of Andy and I are.
Really? I like it.
Right.
I like it. Yeah.
So love
you too, Mary Ellen. Thank you so much.
You got some love there. Wait a minute, Mary Ellen. What about me? Hello.
You're right.
On the next comment. But this is about Andy today, so that's all right. I'm just messing with you. Well, look, hey man, I hope you have a great set of holidays. You and I will definitely stay in touch. I do want to talk about kind of that comment you threw there about using this.
Yeah.
Because I have an idea as we were thinking, so I will talk with you afterwards. But
okay.
Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, we're going to be on next Tuesday, even though it's the week of Thanksgiving. I hope everybody tunes in. Another great guest on the LinkedIn Live Lunch Hour. Andy, thanks again for everything, and it was great to see you. And maybe next time your daughter asks, you take her to get ice cream after you drag her to the Y and lock her up in a holding room for kids.
Yeah. Well, her reward is the kids know when I take them on Saturdays, we get smoothies, and they're excited about that. So, but I did get them ice cream. I did get them
donuts. I mean, come on, man, make it a little more interesting.
I did get them ice cream on Sunday. They actually helped me clean the house, which was a miracle. And then I took them to the playground. And we went to the ice cream truck next to the playground. So I did get them some ice cream then. I'm still amazed.
There you go. Well, hey, then look at Mary Ellen trying to backtrack. Wait, I need you too. Look at that. Look at that. No, I'm kidding, Mary Ellen. Absolutely. Please do connect with us. Thanks to everyone for joining the show that is going to watch on the recast of this here. And everybody have a great Tuesday. And let's get through COVID. Stay indoors, wear a mask, do the right thing so we don't get sick.
Take care of yourselves.
Thanks, everyone.